Okay, this video is going to be about how can you tell you're being healthy and you're being well. How can you tell? Okay, and actually it's very difficult to tell that's the case. So in medical terms, we cannot really tell whether you're being healthy or not healthy at this time. Even in medical terms, quite often what happens is that you have a very good medical workup. Okay, you have very strong physical appearance, six-pack, young and healthy looking. But does that mean that you are healthy? No, what it means is not predictable. Quite often you see very young people with very healthy physique, so very healthy and fit physique, and also perfectly normal lab work. All of a sudden, it died when they exercise. Okay, that happens all the time. So medical science and physical appearance does not predict you are being healthy. So how do we know people are healthy? So we're going to go back to certain places in our world where people live to 100 and have no chronic disease. So there are 5 places, we call them blue zones in the world. They are Loma Linda in California, and Costa Rica, a place called Nicoya, Sardinia in Italy, and Icaria in Greece, and there's one place called Okinawa in Japan. All these people live to 100 years old and hardly have any medical or chronic medical problem. So we assume that these are healthy people. When you live to 100 years old, without any medical problem or medical disease, you can see from picture that they look like they're 60, 70 years old, but you really look at them, they are 99 years old, this is 110, 105, okay? So, 101 years old, they are very vibrant and they still as if they are only 60 years old, sometimes even 50 some years old. So we start looking at these type of people and examine the people. There's a called Blue Zone Project, particularly to examine these people and see why they are the case. So what they see is that they find several things. One is that they have no chronic inflammations. Okay, chronic inflammation is many factors you can use to examine that. They have very minimum amount of insulin resistance, meaning that they hardly have any diabetic disease in their body. They have another interesting thing is called endothelial function. It does not deteriorate, so their function remain normal. So as long as these 3 things are normal, the people are healthy, and health and wellness is maintained. So chronic inflammation is another term for it, called cellular inflammation. Has many other problems, and I don't want to get into it. It begets multiple medical problems. One of the things it kind of cause interrelated to diabetes and endothelial functions. But besides these 2, there are all kinds of different medical problems with that. And one of the reasons why you have chronic inflammation is lifestyle. Okay, so you have poor diet, poor lifestyle, smoking and drinking, aging, stress, infection, all cause oxidative stress in the body. When you have oxidative stress in the body, you produce lots of free radicals, and the free radical damage the cell wall. And when it damages the cell wall, the cell becomes inflamed, and that's called chronic inflammation of the cell wall, and also called cellular inflammation. From then onward, it begets multiple things. 2 of the most important things they beget is chronic in insulin resistance, and the other is endothelial dysfunctions. Those two is a part and partial, or three of them, part and partial of being healthy or not healthy. So insulin resistance, we talked about that before in one of my past video. What happened to it? The insulin become insensitive to insulin, and that's the beginning of diabetes process going on. And from the diabetes process going on, multiple other things happen to the person. The blood gets thinner, many things. How do I say? It causes hypertension indirectly. It causes chronic inflammation, and eventually it causes diabetes, and even cause indirectly heart disease. So the insulin become a very big problem. Endothelial dysfunction is actually the root cause of every single blood-related disease, like hypertension, cardiovascular disease, strokes, and also circulation problem. It begins at endothelial function or dysfunctions, not cholesterol, not that type of what we commonly doctors tell you where heart disease begins. Heart disease begins at endothelial dysfunctions. So endothelial dysfunction causes multiple things. One thing, vasoconstriction, that becomes hypertension. Blood becomes thicker, that predisposes you to stroke. Arteria stiffen, and part of the blood pressure problem, and cardiovascular disease. So endothelial dysfunction, you can say that as the beginning of all heart-related or blood-related disease. So all these three areas, can you test them? Okay, if I can test them, then I can say I'm healthier than you because my parameters are better than yours. And the answer is yes, we can test them. For chronic inflammation, we can test C-reactive protein, homocysteine level. There are a couple other ones you can, fibrinogens and other things that we don't use it as often. But these two, we use it quite, C-reactive protein, homocysteine, we use it quite regularly to determine whether you have chronic inflammation. Set-rate is another one, but I don't want to get into that one. AAEPA is a newer one that we use to check your silent cellular inflammation. That's coming from your blood. With those two, how do I say, fatty acid, two fatty acids within your oil, within your blood from metabolism, from your intake of oil. So that is a latest one because these two are late manifestation of chronic inflammation. AAEPA is early indication of your chronic inflammations. As far as diabetes or insulin resistance, how can you tell? We all know that you can tell by fasting insulin, fasting glucose, and hemoglobin A1C. And now I'll add one more is fatty liver too. If you have fatty liver, you are falling into this area called insulin resistance. So endothelial dysfunction is relatively difficult to measure because it's very cumbersome to measure the function of the endothelium. But I will use omega-3 index, okay, from the omega profile to use it as a indicative of how well is your endothelial functions. So with that in mind, I can measure all three of the pillars of wellness, all three pillars.